Yeah. Okay. So, this is Overwatch 2 was a pointless sequel by the Act Man. And pretty much, yeah, I spoke a lot about this before I actually clicked on this video. So I gotta turn it up. I gotta turn up the volume.
Given in. At last, they have admitted that Overwatch 2 was just one big silly mistake. Or at least that is the implication we can
hold on a second. Hold on 1 second.
Implication we can draw. What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here. And today, Blizzard has finally given in. At last, they have admitted that Overwatch 2 was just one big...
Yep. Right there. Right here. Director's take, opening up the conversation on 5v5 and 6v6. All right. So yeah, this game has completely come full circle. It's going back to 6v6. Bro. That's how you know you messed up big time. It's like, hey, so we're not able to deliver on any of the promises we made. So, you know, what we're going to do is we're just going to make it Overwatch 1 again. Like we're just going to bring back 6v6. All right? It's our fault. Don't worry about it. Hey, it's our mistake. Bro. Absolute brain dead decisions.
Silly mistake. Or at least that is the implication we can draw, because they recently announced in a blog post that they were opening up the conversation on 5v5 and 6v6. Yeah. Now the fact that they are even considering
bro, like, I can't believe that they messed up so astronomically to a point where they have to reel back everything. They have to bring back 6v6 because listen, you know, the PvE mode, it's just not in our plans anymore. You want to know something? Hey, we're just gonna cancel all that, and like several years later, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna add back in 6v6. All right, we're just gonna add that back in because it was our mistake. It was our mistake, guys. We messed up. We screwed up. Here's 6v6. It's all good.
Returning to the old format from Overwatch 1 is a clear indication to me that this was not the right creative direction for Overwatch 2. It has
pretty much. It goes without saying, honestly.
Hasn't fulfilled its intended purpose for the developers or the fans. In other words, it's kind of like WoW Classic, right?
You don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
Yeah. Overwhelmingly negative reviews. And pretty much my theory is, and this probably is the correct theory. But my theory is they only did this, like they only made Overwatch 2 to change the business model from, you know, loot boxes to a battle pass, and that was pretty much it. Like, that was it. As disappointing as it is to hear, I don't think they ever had an intention of releasing a PvE mode. They said that they would, but I don't think it was ever in there. I don't think it was ever in the cards. And that's like, think about that. That's kind of sad, honestly, because, bro, I'll say this again. I looked at what they were going to do with what's it called? With the PvE stuff. Like, I saw videos of, like, you know, its early builds and whatnot, and it looked pretty solid, dude. It looks really good, and honestly, it's such a shame that unfortunately it was never meant to be. Bro. It's heartbreaking, man. Oh god, what's going on? Okay.
Never mind. You guys are right. We fucked up our game again, and so we're just gonna go back to the thing that you liked and resell you that. Isn't it funny to think about this? Like,
I mean, dude, let's be honest. If they did this like friggin' several years from now, like let's say that Overwatch 1 was still, you know, around, right? If they did this in like the 2030s, Like if they dropped Overwatch 2 in the 2030s after, you know, they would astronomically screw up Overwatch 1, because at some point they would. Let's be honest, at some point they would screw this up. So, like, if they did this, if they just like went back to day one with, you know, an Overwatch 2 or whatnot in like the 2030s, like early 2030s, yeah, I think it would have the same. I think it would have around the same reception that WoW Classic had. Overwatch Classic, if you would.
They spent all this time and effort adjusting the balance, mechanics, abilities, team compositions, and every facet of Overwatch to make it fit with 5v5. And now they have to
yeah, dude. Like they made the game, like they remade Overwatch 1 to work with a 5v5 framework. Like, I just need you guys to take that into account. They reworked the entirety of Overwatch 1 to make it work with a 5v5 framework. Because what their intentions were, again, what their stated intentions were was you know, have like the multiplayer be secondary to a dedicated PvE experience, right? That's what their goal was. And unfortunately, that turned out to not be the case. And pretty much with that being said, yeah, like now they have to they essentially have to undo everything and like make the game work again with a 6v6 framework as opposed to 5v5, which, I mean, let's be honest, you could have made this, like, you could have done this interchangeably to where it could work with both a 5v5 and 6v6, but like, again, Blizzard's forethinking is not 2020. Like, their foresight is not 2020. Essentially, they just, like, they were so short-sighted with every decision made with this game, and just it really shows with like where everything's at. It sucks, dude. It really sucks that, you know, it came to this.
Undo all of that work. I might be the first to coin this term, but it's like they have to undevelop the game. This is undevelopment, where you screw up.
You sly dog. I know what you're getting. Oh Lord. Okay, but yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree. Like, they're essentially they're unfixing the game. Like, they have to take down. They have to, like, dude. Okay, so imagine, right? Imagine. You're working like as a contractor, right? Isn't this kind of the equivalent of, like, you know, putting in like a ton of work on basically just this dilapidated, falling apart house? You know, like, all the pipes are rusted, you know, the wood is rotten through, the carpets have like colonies of different insects living in them, like there's black mold everywhere. Isn't this just the equivalent of like fixing all that up only to be like, nah, we change our mind. Put the rotten wood back. Put the insects back in the carpet. It's just, isn't this the equivalent, pretty much? I think that's the case. Like, bro, they worked so hard, and I'm putting air quotes when I say they worked so hard on Overwatch 2, only to just like say, yeah, you know what? Let's reel everything back. Let's add back a 6v6 framework to the game. Let's do all this stuff. I mean, it kind of felt that way when, you know, they add back in the on fire system, the freaking what else? Did they add back in the post-game medals? If any of you played Overwatch 2, did they actually add back in the post-game stats? Where you can choose an most valuable player? because I haven't played the game for like in like 2 years, so I don't even know. You know, if you're watching this video, leave it in the comments. Did they add back in like the what's it called, the post game stuff? Because I'm very unsure like of what they did, what changes that they made. But yeah, they added back in the on fire system. I know that for a fact. But yeah, pretty much they're like unworking all of Overwatch 2 now. They're essentially making Overwatch 1 again with new characters. That's pretty much, with new characters and new maps. That's pretty much all that they're doing. And again, $1 million question here. Why move on from Overwatch 1 if that was all you were going to do? It doesn't make any sense. It literally makes no sense why they're doing that. I don't know, dude. It's so... Oh my god. Thinking about this stuff kind of just irritates me, because they had everything figured out with Overwatch 1. Actually, no, I probably shouldn't say that. But they had like a lot figured out, and now they got the... Now with like Overwatch 2, they just have to unwork everything that they did, and just... Bro. Come on now.
The game's so bad you effectively have to roll back like years worth of development.
Exactly.
So today we're going to dive into this blog post and discuss the rise of Overwatch and how one of the most innovative games of the last decade wound up getting a pointless sequel.
Are you with me?
No. But before we jump into it,
so.
Fun fact, did you know...
Alright, well, this is going to be an ad, but I'll say this. Yeah, pointless sequel. I mean, obviously. And, dude, again, what was wrong with just maintaining Overwatch 1's live service? I mean, look, you could have like scaled it up for, the then upcoming Xbox Series S and X and PS5, right? You could have done that, and you could have kept adding in characters and maps to the original game. And to be completely honest, I don't think dude, yes, there are a few countries that, that do not like loot boxes. I'm aware of this fact. The fact of the matter is, you still could have found a way to make it work and still have the game playable in like the countries with those limitations, I'm pretty sure. If you worked hard enough for it, but they didn't do that. Instead, oh, this is giving me a borderline aneurysm just harping on about this. So I'll let the ad play, I guess.
Every video game with craft in the title is a fucking banger. This is even more true with the sponsor of today's...
That is true. StarCraft is really good. Minecraft is as well. I've never played Warcraft. Or World of Warcraft, for that matter. But yeah, I know that StarCraft and Minecraft, those are bangers, 100%.
Video, StarCraft. Set in the incredibly serious setting of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, you play as... one of these guys.
You play as Roblox characters. As glorified Roblox characters. Alright. Is this game free to play? StarCraft. I'm probably gonna check it out, but yeah, this straight up just looks like a freaking Roblox game. Also, on a related note, have you seen a lot of people are creating in Roblox? Like, dude, stuff looks crazy for Roblox standards, dude. It's wild.
In a fight to survive and extract. Yes, I'm serious. Like, I was sold on the art.
You know what this looks like now that I think about it? Hang on. This looks like if somebody made a DayZ game in Roblox, pretty much. That's what this looks like. Honestly. Like, honest to God. That's what this looks like.
Style alone. It's hard to explain something you've never really seen before. StarCraft is a game that, while it looks blocky and goofy and fun, at the same time it's like gritty and dark. You get to enjoy both.
Wait, now that I think about it, is this a Tarkov clone? just with Roblox characters. I don't really know what this is, because yeah, like part of this looks like it could be, you know, DayZ. A lot of it looks like it could be Tarkov. Like, what is this game?
These simple and complex pleasures with StarCraft. Don't let the graphics fool you. StarCraft has surprisingly deep progression and customization.
This is definitely Tarkov.
I'm not big into extraction shooters myself, but I can tell you for certain this one is worth checking out, especially when it goes for the low price of free. It's like a paradox of fun. Two concepts you never imagined in your wildest dreams being crashed together into one solid experience. I'll sweeten the deal. If you download the game using the code TheActman24, I'll give you a free grab bag of goodies to start your journey off.
I'm gonna say this. I'll wait for this game to excuse me. I'll wait for this game to come to friggin' what's it called? PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. That's probably the only way I'm gonna play this game, because my laptop is good. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if it can handle this game. Honestly, it could barely handle Roblox. Dude, I'm pretty sure a modern graphing calculator can run Roblox, and my computer struggles with it, so yeah. I'll wait for this game to come to console if it ever does. If not, yeah, it's disappointing, but hey.
Right, and you can download StarCraft for free today on Steam. Check the links in the description and pinned comment. And thank you, StarCraft, for sponsoring this video.
And now for something completely different.
So, okay. That ad read, that sponsor, I'll give it, God, 8.7 out of 10, I guess. It's straight to the point. You know what the game is, like, from the description, and you also kind of know what it is from the gameplay. However, it's still a little bit ambiguous on what the gameplay is. So, like, again, a lot of it looked like DayZ, a lot of it looked like Tarkov. It's supposed to be an extraction shooter, so I'm guessing it plays like Tarkov, but I guess, you know, eventually we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, overall, that was a solid ad read.
Now, first off, why the sudden decision to start shifting back to 6v6? While the hero shooter genre is seeing a bit of a resurgence with Marvel Rivals, you should check out my video on that. The game's fucking incredible. Highly recommend.
I'm just gonna say this, I cannot wait to play that game. Like, I think currently it's in closed beta, I'm pretty sure. When it gets to open beta, I can't wait to actually try it out. It looks like so much fun, dude. Compared to Overwatch, dude, I need a new hero shooter, man. Paladins is just like, I don't think Hi-Rez is supporting Paladins anymore, so, and you know, like, with Overwatch the way it is, I've been needing a new hero shooter for like years now, pretty much. So Marvel Rivals looks pretty good. That's all I'm saying.
Also put a link in the description and pinned comment. Also, come join my public Discord server, the Act Clan. It's awesome in there. But there's also Sony's Concord.
Am I actually part of it? I don't think I am. I don't think I am part of the Discord. Also,
public Discord server, the Act Clan.
Also, is this maybe I'm looking way too into it, but is this art a reference to Arcane? It's the Arcane poster art thing. Hang on, because it looks kind of similar. It looks pretty similar. Not gonna lie. I mean, you can barely see it, but hey, it's there. Just saying, it looks very familiar.
It's awesome in there. But there's also Sony's Concord coming out in a few weeks. Valve is working on their own hero shooter.
Yeah, from what I saw of Concord, it's just, I don't think it's good. I don't think it's gonna be great. Who makes is it Bungie? Or no, Bungie makes Marathon, I'm pretty sure. And I think Marathon is gonna be a different game as opposed to like a hero shooter or whatnot. Valve is making it, so Valve is actually making a new game finally. damn, it's been too long.
Shooter, which got leaked, I think, what, a few months ago? So there's mounting competition and pressure, and perhaps Blizzard was faced with a decision to preemptively adapt Overwatch for when these new hero shooters come out. It just so happens that Marvel Rivals started its closed beta period one day after Blizzard made this announcement, so...
Yeah, it's still in closed beta, I'm pretty sure. But dude, that's good. That's good, man. I mean, more competition, so pretty much Overwatch is going to have to innovate. They're gonna have to innovate, and they're gonna have to get better, pretty much, or they're gonna risk falling behind. That's what basically happens in competition. So the empire that Overwatch has been running is going to crumble down at some point or another, and pretty much they only have themselves to blame. Yeah. So yeah, it's the PvE mode that just not being there anymore that sucks, man.
It could very well be a coincidence, but as one trained in the Force.
You know that true coincidences are rare.
Now, I'm certainly one of many who
I've probably heard that quote like 500 times at this point.
Jumped ship or lost interest in Overwatch after 2 came out, and I've been looking for something to fill that void, and I think it's for the same reason people are willing to deal with the bullshit of Battle State games and Escape from Tarkov.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Yeah, bro, $250 just to access PvE mode. Imagine, dude, imagine if Overwatch actually did something like that. Like, if they actually were going to make the PvE mode, but you had to pay... you had to pay $250 to access it. Oh my god, imagine if they did that. Oh god. Oh my lord, I could just imagine the backlash. Dude, you thought that was bad when Overwatch 2... Like, when Blizzard canceled Overwatch 2's PvE... Imagine if they sold that same PvE for $250. Bro, like, Battle State games is... They're cursed, dude. Like, that was such a brain-dead decision to, like, number one, price it, but price it that high. Like, dude, you know how much I spent on my Series S? $316. So pretty much, that's not that far away from like 250. Like that's pretty much 3/4. I'm pretty sure of a. That's 3/4 of the price you would need to spend to get a Series S. So, and you're spending that on a game. On a game that requires internet that might not be around for like the next 10 years or so. There's an interesting video I watched yesterday about that, about how games need to be preserved. So yeah, just think about that, I guess.
That they're sticking with Overwatch. I'll bet thousands of gamers find themselves dealing with Overwatch 2 simply because nothing else on the market feels quite like it.
I mean, to be fair, the closest thing like it was Paladins. Like, the only thing that held Paladins back from actually, you know, steamrolling Overwatch was, well, number one, you couldn't switch out of a character. It had, like, the, League of Legends thing where, you know, once you picked a character at the start of the game, that was your character for the rest of it. Like, from start to end, that was the character you played. So if you did really badly, guess what? You can't switch to another character. You have to do badly for the rest of the game. And like, it's basically trial by fire. It's trial by fire pretty much. So if you pick a character that you're good with and you do really well with them, yeah, like that's good for you. But you know, if you pick a character that you do terribly with and you want to switch out, oh, that's just too bad, buddy, because guess what, there's no switching out of that character. So good luck, have fun. And yeah, that was one of the things that set, you know, Paladins behind Overwatch. I think another thing was, the monetization system for Paladins was not great. Because essentially, you couldn't choose. Well, you could choose whatever you want. Number one, but the thing is, actually, no, you couldn't, because you had to buy a battle chest or whatnot, and it had the roulette system where, you could probably get the thing you want, but at the same time you have like a 9 out of 10 chance of getting something you don't want. And pretty much, if you only have cosmetics for one character and that character gets taken, yep, you're screwed, because pretty much, again, you cannot choose that character. You cannot, once you choose a character, again, that's your character for the rest of the game, pretty much. So yeah, that and a lot of other reasons are probably why Paladins was not as successful as Overwatch. Yeah, I mean, well, to be honest, Smite is getting a sequel. So I mean, and Smite is developed by Hi-Rez, so maybe we might get the Paladins too. Who knows? And maybe they'll actually make proper changes. Hi-Rez, please make proper changes if you're going to make Paladins too. Thank you.
And if you want something that fulfills that old Overwatch vibe, Marvel Rivals it's looking pretty good. But with these new hero shooters coming out, there might be some actual competition, And it's alluring. The idea of going back in time when Overwatch was king, at its peak, when everyone loved it. I've recently been watching some of their old cinematics, and my god, you're just transported to a different time.
I think this was Heroes of the Storm, actually. This wasn't Overwatch. Yeah, this was Heroes of the Storm, a game that I literally have
their
never
old
played.
Cinematics, and my god, you're just transported to a different time when Blizzard was still.
Yeah, I will say this though, that this does look pretty fire. If Blizzard has been consistent with one thing, it's their cinematics.
A pretty good company. How the times change.
Yeah.
You think you honor your brother Genji with incense and offerings? Honor resides in one's actions. You dare to lecture me about honor?
Remember what they took? Yep.
You are not worthy to say his name!
Dude, I remember I watched this, God, when did I watch this? I watched this, twice, I'm pretty sure. I think I watched this the second time in 2017. Or it could have been 2018, I don't remember, but yeah, this will always hit diff, dude. This hits different from every other cinematic that I've seen. I mean, dude.
And that's the thing, it's hard to look
sad.
back on these cinematics because none of this ever panned out in the actual game. A PvE story mode was the most requested feature for so many years, and after 2 years...
I mean... It was the one thing that people wanted. In actual story mode, that was the one thing that people wanted. And a lot of people wanted the story mode in different ways, but hey, give me a sec. Ugh. Just need to finish up some coffee. But hey, people wanted the story mode. That was the unanimous thing. That was what brought everybody together with this game. Everybody wanted a story mode. Most people wanted it, a standard, campaign where you played as different characters. Personally, what I wanted them to do, what I wanted Blizzard to do with Overwatch was kind of like what EA did with I think it was Battlefield 1's War Stories, where again you had different areas of the world, you had freaking what's it called? You had Route 66, you had Toronto, you had friggin' Paris, you had Italy, Japan, you had all these locations, and you had different characters. It was these different regions would have like their own sort of characters where you played as, and essentially like it would be you know like 3, 4, maybe 5 missions each. And, you know, with that, you could add in some type of progression with that, right? So, like, that's what I kind of wanted them to do with the PvE mode. I wanted them to actually make a, you know, if not a traditional campaign, at least that idea of, you know, like, emulating Battlefield 1's war stories in Overwatch 2. But, yeah, I mean... regardless, we're not getting that, and we're not getting any other PvE mode. Pretty much, it sucks. It really does suck.
Of marketing, Blizzard abandoned that.
Time to abandon ship.
They showed us that they didn't care about this story, and so neither should we. But I want to take a quick crash course into what
I still care about the story, even though, you know, it's long gone, bro. That again, it would have been so good, man.
Went wrong with Overwatch 2. Now, this part of the video could be 30 minutes, but we're gonna keep it short.
Yeah.
Around 2019, we started seeing fewer updates to Overwatch 1 because Blizzard was focusing on a sequel. So for a couple years, fans were starved for new content. But when Overwatch 2 was announced, hype was at its peak. Kind of, but because of the expansive talent trees.
Yeah, dude. Every time I see this, I get sad and I get furious because, dude, oh my god, look at this, dude. Literally look at this. This looked freaking amazing. Even though, you know, this was what's it called? This was a prototype or whatnot. Like, this was an early build. This looked fire, dude. Like, adaptive reload, hindsight, flash, chain reaction, vortex, speed kills. Dude, this would have been so freaking good, dude. It would have been so good. And you leveled up each character. Oh my god. I'm gonna, dude, I swear to god, I'm a freak. I'm a freak out, man. I'm gonna freak out, and nobody's gonna be safe when I freak out. Just saying. I'm just gonna say that.
All these new abilities, a focus on story, and most importantly, this highly anticipated PvE mode. Fans were somewhat skeptical when it was revealed the game would shift to 5v5 instead of 6v6, and especially that Overwatch 2 would replace the base game. So if it wasn't an objective improvement...
Yeah, I thought that... Bro. Oh, yeah. Homie, come on now. Oh shoot, like, okay, what was I gonna say? That just completely threw me off. So yeah, what I was gonna say was, like, they said that the old game was going to be playable with the new game. Like, you know, it was basically gonna be, you know, people who play Overwatch 2 could play with people who play Overwatch 1 and vice versa. That was the air quotes, that was the plan for this game, for both Overwatch 1 and 2. And when I heard that, I was like, surely they're not gonna fully, like, pull the trigger on this, right? Like, surely Overwatch 2 will replace Overwatch 1, and it did. It replaced it, and pretty much, yeah, a lot of people were not happy about that fact. I mean, pretty much, I saw it coming from a mile away that, you know, this game was going to replace the original. But hey,
in every way, that would piss people off, because they wouldn't be able to go back and play a previous version if they didn't like the new one. Blizzard's fuck-ups didn't end there.
Yeah,
they then
that was a thing with CSGO. Excuse me. But yeah, people, like, from what I've heard, a lot of people, I didn't really hear a lot about CS2, but, like, there were a few people that said, you know, like, what was the difference between CS2 and CSGO? Like, why do we have to lose CSGO? And I mean, to be fair, like, yeah, I mean, it kind of was a pointless upgrade, but hey.
decided to release Overwatch 2's PvP sooner and delay the PvE to later. The game released with
Which, again, I will die on the hill that this was a stupid decision. Like, this was a brain-dead decision to release the PvP first, and then you know, the PvE would happen later down the line, because, dude, like, you know, they could have put a better game out, like, later. They could have put a much better game out later if they just held back on dropping the PvP. And they just let us keep playing Overwatch 1. I mean, dude. Like that, I just can't fathom like what was going on behind the scenes. Actually, no, we know what was going on behind the scenes. None of this stuff was gonna happen. None of this stuff was gonna happen. PvE was never going to happen. Like that was it. That was pretty much. Let's keep going.
With god-awful monetization. We all thought loot boxes were bad. Somehow it got worse.
Bro, I would have preferred loot boxes as to what they actually dropped, and I think he's going to explain.
Level that not even EA could compete with. Unlocking every cosmetic without spending money
would take 327 years. Put that into perspective. 327 years to unlock every single cosmetic. If you only use the 60 coins a week. If you didn't pull out your credit card or, you know, type in the information into your PayPal, you would have to spend 3 centuries, 2 decades, 7 years to get every single cosmetic that was available at launch. I can't believe that. That's wild to think about, dude. Like, bro. Oh my god, dude. 3 centuries to unlock everything in the Overwatch 2 shop. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous, dude. Like, bro. As much flack as we give EA Sports, I don't think that they would ever do this. I don't think anybody with a sane mind would do this. It's friggin' crazy, man. Oh my god. Oh shoot.
Would have taken 327 years to do.
Yeah.
Without paying money. That is not a joke.
It's to a point right now where, like, okay, well, the former CEO of Blizzard is actually, you know, no longer in Blizzard, so, like, but if he never left, that makes me wonder, like, what would be next? Like, what would they do next? Like, bro. And you gotta think about it too, like, Diablo 4 came out, you know, not too long after Blizzard canceled Overwatch 2's PvE. Like, it makes me wonder what they would have done if the former CEO was, you know, still the CEO. Right, it would have been like like a terrible few years, bro. I mean, I can't really say much else because, like, dude, this was a travesty, honestly. Like, the fact that they got away with this for so long, compounded with, like, everything else they did. It's just, it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Additionally, when the game launched, you couldn't log into the servers unless you provided Blizzard with your phone number.
Do you guys not have phones? Yeah.
Your birth certificate.
I totally forgot about the Quandale Dangle memes until this came up, dude. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Again, I lost track of what I was gonna say. Okay, wait, never mind. Shoot. There was also a thing where, you know, like, you couldn't get into the servers day one. Like, dude, I tried. This was when I was doing. This was when I was actually doing, you know, gaming content. Especially like Overwatch 2 content. Like, I was trying to get into the server. I was trying to get into the server day one. Guess what? I got thrown out every single time with an error message. Like, you couldn't play the game day one. That was pretty much that was the Overwatch 2 experience. I'm convinced. Like, that was a true Overwatch 2 experience, dude. Oh, shoot. That was a bad day, man. Like, everybody was getting thrown out of the game. Nobody was able to actually play it. And just, there were a lot of bugs that, yeah, like, 3 of the characters had to be removed as well. They had to be disabled, and pretty much, yeah, dude, that was a rough few days. Ugh.
And the name and address of the doctor who delivered you. Then in May of 2023, Blizzard announced that the extended PvE plans, whoops, not doing that. Sorry, we used that to promote the game. We're scrapping that in favor of these story-based events that you can pay $15 for. Oh, look.
Yeah, and guess what? They were glorified archives events. Like, you remember the archive events in Overwatch 1? You know, you played one PvE mission, and you occasionally replayed it with friends, and, you know, they were limited time events, and, you know, pretty much that was the experience. That was the PvE experience. That was essentially the PvE experience for Overwatch 2. They just rehashed the friggin' archive events from Overwatch 2, not Overwatch 1, and put it in Overwatch 2 for $15. A glorified update to the game was priced at $15. I need to know what they were smoking, and I need to know where I can obtain some of what they were, because, dude, honestly, it's insane, dude. It's insane what they were getting away with.
Looks like nobody did that. In March 2024, Jason Schreier reported that the PvE missions didn't sell well enough, and the entire PvE was scrapped moving forward. Quite the cluster.
So, yeah. So again, like, hey, it's not gonna sell well. That must mean that people don't want this. They don't want the PvE mode. So you know what? We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna continue making missions for this, because nobody bought it. Oops, I'm sorry. You wanted the PvE experience? Well, should have bought it, nerd. I can't with Blizzard. Why do you think I haven't played the game? Why do you think I haven't played the game? Why do you think I haven't played Overwatch 2 in like 2 years? Because I can't with Blizzard anymore, dude. I can't with what they're doing with this game. I can't stand it. I can't play it. It's awful. It's awful what they're doing with this. Why? Why are they butchering a horse? A dead horse? Why are they butchering a dead horse beyond recognition? I don't understand. Ugh.
Fuck of bad decisions. Maybe a month after Overwatch 2 came out, I stopped playing it, kind of lost interest. And here's the thing, Overwatch will always be fun on a fundamental level,
yeah.
But the deception and lies perpetuated by Blizzard and Activision executives, I think has forever tarnished the game and my perception around it. Maybe
I say it like this. I love the game. In the manner of story, characters, gameplay, all that stuff. Love the game. I hate the product. If that makes any sense. I love the game. I hate the way you know they advertise it, and I hate the way that they essentially manage it. I hate the product. I cannot stand it. The game is amazing. The way that Blizzard handles it is god awful. Like, you can't deny that. You genuinely, no matter how hard you try, you cannot deny that fact. The product is horrendous. Like, it's insane what it's just insane what they've gotten away with for so long. And the fact is, like, nobody's holding them accountable. Because nobody can hold them accountable. Pretty much. I got nothing, man. I genuinely got nothing. It's just, like, this just sucks all the energy out of you, dude.
Maybe I'll try it again at some point, but So now we're going to take a look at this blog post. Now, it is pretty lengthy.
I'm never playing this game again. Unless they actually, pull off a miracle and give us what we were promised, give us the PvE we were promised. I'm literally never touching this game again. That sucks to say, because again, yes, they're adding back 6v6. So, too little, too late. Like, literally, I'm never touching this game again.
So I'm gonna just try to keep the most important parts and discuss the direction of the game. There's been a lot of talk about 6v6 lately, and it's only intensified in recent weeks. This is a pretty complex and nuanced topic, and it gets to the beating heart of what makes this game tick. Our players have different opinions and preferences about the ideal number of players in an Overwatch match, and so does our team. I think this kind of just goes back to the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm still really not sure what 5v6...
Yeah, like, I don't know why they changed it. Like, I guess they need to make something about the PvP different for Overwatch 2. But again, there are so many ways you could have made it look different while keeping, you know, one player on both teams. Like, you could have made it 6v6 and found a way to make it different. Like, I'm just convinced that they just needed something to have people differentiate the original Overwatch from, you know, the sequel. So they're like, you know, why don't we remove a player from each team? Like, why don't we remove a player from each team? Why don't we remove the on fire system? Why don't we remove medals? Why don't we do all this stuff? Like, and that will make the game different. That will make the PvP different. I keep saying PvE. That will make the multiplayer different, right? It's I got nothing, because this is just, oh my god, this is so irritating.
B5 was supposed to do or improve on the formula. Sure, the idea of having fewer players means each player's contribution is more meaningful. I mean, that stands up in FPS games. You look at Battlefield, right? But it never really felt like it in Overwatch 2. It just felt like if you were a tank, the pressure was on you twice as much.
Yep.
Which also eliminated, like, the off-tank role, kind of like Zarya. I'd like to set a few expectations and ground rules. First, it's pretty long. Creators are going to lose their voices reading this one aloud. You got me there. This is a game and your preference for fun is relative to your own tastes, ability, and experience. Lastly, there are years of decisions that affect such a fundamental piece of Overwatch. I'd like to set the stage and give some context on some of the larger changes to the game that ultimately culminated in the 5v5 format we have today. So this historical context section pretty much just runs through the history of development and how they settled on 6v6 and the problems with duplicate heroes and whatnot. And originally it sounds like they had planned to balance the game around no limits, which would have been kind of...
I mean, yeah, you could have done... Like, does anybody still play No Limits? Like, is that still like an LTM for like the arcade section? I don't. Again, you could have just changed that and like left every. This is making my brain. I feel like my brain is going to leak out of the side of my head if I try to actually like piece this together anymore. Like, this is literally giving me This is literally making my brain overheat. Oh my god. This is hurting. This is hurting my brain.
Kind of silly, and they say the variety was great, but we didn't feel like we could ever truly balance the game without severely watering down our heroes. So we made the choice to impose a limit of one of each hero per team. A theme of this and future decisions was limiting match variety as well as player freedom and creativity in order to create a more balanced, consistent, and competitive experience for players. And that's totally fair. I think when Overwatch first came out and everybody was experiencing this type of game for the first time, those non-TF2 fans, No Limits was fun. It was wacky, it was crazy. Obviously, I think everybody knew the game competitively wasn't supposed to be balanced around No Limits, but now it's a fun, like, little side mode. And I think Overwatch is a game that can be both wacky, crazy, competitive, and casual. But it is...
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw, like, No Limit as, like, the primary game mode for Overwatch 1. I don't think anybody was gonna see it as that. I think people like genuinely just saw it as a fun little side mode, as stated. But so I don't know what they were getting at with that, with, you know, trying to rationalize that. I don't understand.
Really hard to balance a game that can fulfill all three types of gameplay. If someone wanted to play Tracer, but you were already Tracer, they would... Wait a second.
Stop.
Oh god, PTSD flashbacks. I'm already Tracer. The second...
Early TikTok is just... It was poison. Current TikTok isn't any better, but at least we've kind of moved on. Dude, that always makes me cringe so badly, dude. Oh my god, that actually... Bro. Why does the cringe always give me a worse headache, dude? Oh god. I'm sorry, guys. This... Oh god. That version of TikTok is gone. Good freaking riddance. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why did you have to word it like that, man? Why did you have to word it like that? I don't like it. I hate it. Oh.
The second large change to the game's format was the move from open queue to role queue, which limited team compositions to 2 heroes from each role. Again, I think role queue is fine, but I don't see what the issue with having 2 ranked playlists is, right? Ranked role queue, ranked open queue. Open queue, you get more creativity and you could do like 3 DPS, 2 healers, 1 tank, 3 tanks, 3 healers, whatever. I think my issues with
obviously people that want to have role queue will have role queue available to them, but limiting everybody to that is just not great. Not a great long-term plan. I mean, yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, because again, after being blitzed by cringe, it's just your brain really just clears itself out.
Role queue stemmed from it being like mandatory in almost all facets of play, either competitive or casual. Also, why couldn't you have done an experimental 5v5 mode with how the game was balanced in the first game? I don't know. No, we had to make an entirely new game for that. Then it talks about role balance and how DPS is the most popular role. And I think that just stems from healers and tanks not being as fun to play. Personally, I always found them fun to play, but once players started getting good at
I think the majority of players like just always wanted to play DPS characters. Like that's like only like a select few people would go out of their way to play support characters, and you had some holdouts that like to be tanks. That was just basically the dynamic of Overwatch. Like, everybody wanted to play DPS, and if you couldn't, you played tank. If you were given no other choice, you played support. That was pretty much the dynamic of Overwatch, essentially. I think it still is. I think that still is like a fundamental part.
Overwatch, it didn't take too long for like competitive sweats to kind of ruin the experience. And I will say this, no matter what you have to say about Overwatch, the fact that they're trying to fix the game, or at least go back to what was better, you know, I can commend Blizzard for doing that. Yeah, and then this section talks about how role queue introduced longer queue times because it was mandatory and some people didn't like it. They talk about how they tried to incentivize people to play tank or healer and it didn't really work. Again, I think Marvel Rivals has a lot of really fun healers. Like Loki has a bunch of trickery mechanics and he can copy an enemy hero's entire moveset. So at least for part of the match, he can play as any role. There were additional drawbacks with role queue.
So is he kind of like Echo in that regard? Because Echo's ult in Overwatch is like basically she gets to become a certain character on like the enemy team or whatnot. Is that kind of how Loki works?
And he can copy an enemy hero's entire moveset. So at least for part of the match, he can play
is that gonna be his ult or whatnot, or like
any role. There were additional drawbacks with role queue I mentioned earlier that many of our decisions made improvements to the game at the cost of match variety and player freedom. Team comps were now locked at 2-2-2.
I mean, and what was wrong with that? I mean, like, yeah, I don't understand what was wrong with like the 2 support, 2 tank, and 2 DPS. Like, I don't get I don't understand what they saw the problem. I don't know like what problem that they saw with that, but
this was another step to a more consistent experience within Overwatch, but sometimes consistency can start to feel samey. Yeah, and that
what's the problem with that? I mean, like, I don't even know how to dissect that. Like, what would you want then?
highlights one of the big problems with role queue is that it limited your options for counterpicking and variety of matches. And I think that's when I started to, you know, play Overwatch a bit less because I feel like my matches were predetermined.
I can kind of understand that, I guess. But I guess that was kind of hard for me considering that I barely play competitive. So like, God, what was my rank in Overwatch competitive? I think I was only ever bronze. I was only ever bronze in Overwatch. I was not good with competitive. What's up, Eagles? How you doing? But pretty much, yeah. I mean, I could kind of understand, but at the same time, yeah, I barely play competitive, so.
To be a certain way, like I said, could have just had 2 ranked playlists, 2 casual playlists, 1 open, 1 role queue. Why we switched to 5e?
Yeah, they didn't do that. I think exclusively for competitive, there was only 1. It was role queue, and pretty much, yeah. It took so long to. They actually incentivized people to play support. Like, if you played support, if you queued for support in Overwatch 1's competitive mode, they gave you a loot box, I'm pretty sure. They give you a loot box or they give you credits. I forget which one. But yeah, they incentivized you to actually play support. And yeah, a lot of people did. I played support. And I got the free loot box or whatever. I didn't do good at support, but I played support in competitive. Yeah. Don't think I'd ever... If I ever played Overwatch again, I don't think I would ever do that. But... I don't think I would ever do that again, but hey. It's a possibility. Well, actually, no, it's not a possibility because I'm never playing this game again.
5. When we launched Overwatch 2, we talked about the greater individual agency that players could have in 5v5. Overwatch is a team sport and it requires players to rely on each other to be successful. Many times fights in 6v6 couldn't resolve until ultimate abilities came online. Correct that, until ultimate combos could be executed to break through 2 tanks worth of mitigation supported by high uncontested healing output. The world of 6v6 could have really high highs but really low lows. One of the design goals of 5v5 was to try to raise that floor, even though it was at the expense of some of those high moments.
So they wanted to change the pace of the game, I'm pretty sure. With that being said, I think that's what they were getting at. They wanted to like changed the paradigm pretty much. Again, like, I could have found ways to do that, but could have found ways to do that while keeping a player on each team. But I don't know.
I don't know. I guess it kind of worked. Like in 5v5, it's easier to break lines, but I think it's also just generally less fun. This was also back when there was more CC and hard crowd control to single out targets.
Happy birthday, ABC Feels birthday, man. Happy birthday, CXQC Feels birthday, man.
Hope we're rhyme with their
And a quick side note, I want to...
Oh my god. Always nice to see an XQC clip.
say that I appreciate them being so transparent about the reasons for their design choices and the pros and cons of each. Here it talks about damage heroes
it's kind of respectable that they're actually explaining their philosophy on changing from 6v6 to 5v5, but at the same time, it doesn't change my mind that, you know, that decision was brain dead. Again, you could have found ways to make 6v6 work in Overwatch 2. You just chose not to. You just chose not to do that. And yeah.
Their role was the least impactful. Support heroes had to focus almost exclusively on healing, and tank synergy wasn't always fun. But that these things were kind of fixed and addressed in 5v5, so then the question is, why are we thinking about going back to it? While 6v6 can have high moments, it's also hard to follow. Tracking 9...
Yeah, if this, air quotes, if this works, why are we doubling back and going back to 6v6? Like, keep in mind, you know, this... Again, I didn't play a whole lot of Overwatch 2, but yeah, I guess I'll play devil's advocate and say, like, there were some things that worked pretty well with 5v5, but with that being said, why are we going back to 6v6? Is there a reason? You feeling guilty that, you know, you couldn't deliver on PvE, and you kind of want to make the Overwatch experience worthwhile again? Like, what's going on? Why are we shifting back? I don't know why. Like, I don't know what their philosophy is. I don't know, like, what they're thinking. Like, I'm genuinely confused with this.
Other players is easier than 11, fewer visual effects, especially during big team fights. Moving to 5v5 made it more cognitively manageable. Lastly, one of the biggest benefits of 5v5 was dramatically reduced Q.
Cognitively manageable? I mean, how so? Like, I kind of need help dissecting that one. Like, how is it cognitively manageable? How is it more cognitively manageable? Like, that's a genuine question. I'm genuinely, like, confused. Like, is there... You gotta explain how? Maybe? Possibly? Alright. I guess we're supposed to take the word of the writer in that regard.
Few times. And as you can see here, holy shit, 7.6 minutes to play one match of Overwatch. That could last less than that. But
yeah, everybody wanted to be DPS. Everybody wanted to, you know, play a damage character. And that's why, you know, that's why it takes so long in the queue. Yeah, I remember for Overwatch 1 how easy it was to find a match as a support or tank. It took an eon to queue up for a damage role. And I mean, yeah.
See how this only talks about post roll queue and not open queue? I feel like that's important. Like, open queue times back in Overwatch, it was rare to wait more than 1 minute. I'll be completely honest. So this makes sense, right?
I played during the open queue era. I played competitive during the open queue era. Yeah, you found a match snap quick. It was so easy to find the match with open queue. Now that there's closed queue, you know, there's roll queue. There's basically everybody wants to play one type of character. They want to play damage. Like if they can't find the game, they're going to choose tank, and if they still can't find the game with that, they're going to choose support. Like that's the order of how things go. If they can't play as damage, they'll play as tank. If they can't play as tank, they'll play as support. Or they just won't play competitive. That's pretty much the philosophy. I think that's still how it goes. Again, I don't know, because I have not played Overwatch 2 in, like, again, 2 years, so I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure that that's the philosophy. That's still the philosophy.
The ratio of players queuing for tank damage and support is much closer to 1-2-2 than 2-2-2. As a result, this format better mirrors actual player interest in each role. So 5v5 was basically a solution to a problem that was introduced to solve another solution, role queue. It seems like role queue is just the problem. Was it really worth redesign?
Yeah, dude, just get rid of role queue. Like, there's no point as to why it's still I mean, like, honestly, if you want to play competitive and you want to have like a team, and you want to have like a team stacked with damage characters, have fun losing, I guess, because that's what's gonna happen. It's about people, you know, having common sense and like having good game sense. But you can't have open queue and blame everybody and blame everybody for just wanting to play a damage character. Like you can't have that. You can't have that, dude. Like, you have to, like, number one, it's, you know, it's essentially what people want to do, right? You know, you're gonna have, like, people that have good game sense that say, hey, you know what, we need a tank, or hey, we need a support player. You know what, I'll be that player. Or hey, do you want to be support with me, or do you want to be a tank with me, or whatever. That's easy. That's kind of easy. But you know, I guess people just, you know, want to do what they want. They don't want to have like uniformity or whatnot. But hey, I don't know. It's just my brain is used up. It's
signing all of the champions and abilities just to shorten the queue time when you could have done that a different way.
Yeah.
Thoughts on 6v6? The game started its life with 6 players on each team. There were moments in madness that could happen with 12 players in a match that just don't quite coalesce when there are 10. It was almost too much to keep track of. Correction, it was too much to keep track of at times, but that was part of the charm. Exactly. I 100% agree. There are big moments in Overwatch 2, but they don't quite have that same chaotic, over-the-top feeling to them. Part of that chaos allowed players to feel less pressure in a match. It's like he's reading my...
Yeah, they don't have that chaotic nature because you remove the charm, pretty much. You remove the charm, my guy. Like, and now you're complaining that you know, it doesn't feel as chaotic. It doesn't feel as, you know, fun, I guess. Yeah, you kind of did it to yourself, my dude.
My mind.
Oh, that should clean everyone. There we go. Nice.
Oh my
I put
god.
everyone down for you.
Oh,
I saved
wow.
in that clip. Nice.
Can't wait to see that played.
There was an extra player to take up a bit of slack for someone who was performing poorly. And I also felt like, again, because Overwatch was inspired by MOBAs, which are 5v5, 6v6 made the game stand out. So what's next? Because
is there a 6v6 MOBA? I don't think there is. I was about to say League, but yeah, League is 5v5, so yeah, I do not think that there's a 6v6 MOBA out there. There might be, but hey.
The challenges mentioned previously, we are focused on making 5v5 the best experience it can be. However, because we operate as a service to our players, we always remain open-minded to reevaluating our decisions based on your actions and feedback, to give you the best game experience we can, rather than introduce a disruptive, permanent change to the game. Oh, you mean like role queue? You mean like the existence of Overwatch 2 eliminating the first game? That was pretty disruptive and permanent. With that said, we're looking at...
That was pretty stupid as well. Let's be honest with ourselves. That was a pretty dumb decision. Oh god. It's Blizzard. I mean, like, what else can you expect? Like, that's pretty much all I can boil it down to. It's Blizzard. What can you really expect? If you're expecting something wild, prepare to be disappointed.
Running a series of events to try out different core team composition formats in Overwatch 2. The community has just once or twice suggested a test. Why not put various forms of 6v6 in the game in order to gauge the results? We agree, and we're going to test out different forms of 6v6. So yeah, the main gist is that they're going to try 6v6. They acknowledge the problems with 5v5 and the problems with queue times that they haven't really completely figured out.
Also, I feel like it needs prefacing to say this. They're only experimenting with 6v6. It's not confirmed whether or not they're going to actually officially add it back into the game. So there's that. Like, they're doing tests for 6v6. It might not be a permanent addition to the game, but they're at least experimenting with it again. Regardless, yeah, they have come full circle, and I am not amused anymore. I am just like, I'm over this game, pretty much. I'm over Overwatch.
Overall, I think this is a pretty good, insightful blog post. Shockingly, there's not much for me to make fun of, but I want to read some of the comments. I can't help but wonder what if Overwatch 1 and 2 had remained separate games? Would 6v6 still have been such a hot topic within the community? Could you experiment with adding a third-person mode? The question of what if these had remained two separate games is kind of like superfluous because they would have never done that in the first place. What are people
like they brought that up when they brought that up when Overwatch 2 was being announced at BlizzCon. I think it was 2019. They brought that up, and pretty much I was like, I saw that and I said, yeah, they're not going to do that. Like, they're not going to keep these games separate. Like, Overwatch 2 is going to overlap the original. So like that was never in the cards to begin with. Like, they were straight lines to the audience saying that these games would be like, you would be able to play both these games. That was never their goal, pretty much. That was never something that they were going to do. So, yeah.
To pay money for cosmetics for two separate games. They just should have done the fucking PvE mode. It would have solved all of our problems. But if Overwatch 2 goes back to...
again, if they just did the PvE mode, nobody would care. Nobody would care about what they were doing with the multiplayer, because guess what? Everybody would be playing the PvE mode. That is factual. That was a factual statement. Nobody would care. Literally no, like, maybe the diehard competitive players would care, but literally outside of that, nobody else would care, because everybody's focusing on the PvE mode. That's it. That's about it. That's all I can say about that. Nobody would care.
6v6, then one of the biggest changes and reasons for Overwatch 2 existing would be removed, effectively making Overwatch 2 a pointless sequel. Like I said at the start, the fact that they're even considering 6v6 is kind of an indication that 5v5 was not the direction to go. I personally think there were more pros to 6v6 than 5v5, but maybe some players will
I think they're actually just going to give up at some point. Like, in the next few years, they're going to give up on this game, give or take. Like, that's my prediction. They're going to give up on Overwatch 2 because, let's be honest, man. It just should never have been. If they were going to, pull out all these rugs from underneath us, they should have just kept Overwatch 1. They should have just did that. If you wanted to work on a PvE mode, thus working on a separate game, you could have done that, but you know what? You did? You screwed us. You screwed us all. You screwed us all, you lied to us, and pretty much a lot of us were none the wiser. And sad to say, I was none the wiser, because I thought that they were actually going to commit to making a dedicated hero mode, a dedicated PvE with talent trees and power progression. I genuinely thought that was something that they were going to work on, that they were going to push themselves above and beyond to deliver. And guess what? They didn't do a damn thing. They didn't do a damn thing. They gave us this watered down trash PvE experience that was $15. That sucked. They decided they weren't going to do it anymore, and guess what? Just like that, it's over. It was done. It was all finished. That's about it. That's about it. Like, And the thing is, dude, Overwatch was initially going to be another game called Titan. And that was going to have like a PvE mode as well, I'm pretty sure. But that ended up getting canned in favor of Overwatch. And pretty much, now we're at this point where Overwatch 2 had its PvE mode canceled, and now they're scrambling to figure out what to do with it. It's kind of the same thing with StarCraft Ghost. Because StarCraft Ghost was going to be, a StarCraft first-person shooter. And, yeah, again, that was going to have a PvE campaign. So essentially, Blizzard doesn't know what to do when it comes to PvE. Like, when it comes to just straight, PvE to its core. I mean, you could argue Diablo, but yeah, I mean, again, that's a completely different game in a completely different genre. So yeah, they just can't make FPS PvE work in a sense, like dedicated, not a limited time event, not any of this other stuff. They can't make it work as an actual game. That sucks. It sucks that they can't do that. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess.
Happy enough experiencing Overwatch 2 like they did the first game. And so for some, that might be all they need. But at the end of the day, I'm still left wondering, what was the point of all of this? Basically, every update they've had to Overwatch 2 could have just been an update to the base game. But what do you think? Do you still play Overwatch 2?
I agree.
Let me know
100%.
your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to The Act Man for more awesome content. Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is The Act Man signing out. Peace!
I wanna be Winston.
Nope, not dealing with that. Not dealing with that. But yeah, dude, I agree with one fact. And I'm going to say it as it is. I'm going to say it as it is. This was a pointless sequel, dude. This was just like, why? Why did we need this? Like, why did we need Overwatch 2? Again, my theory is they just wanted to change the monetization of the game. That's one of the core reasons. Like, in my opinion, I think that they always wanted to they always wanted to just get rid of the loot boxes so it could be, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what they were hoping to do with this. But pretty much, yeah. I'm gonna look at some of these comments. Let's all take a moment to remember those who died in the Battle of Reach. Those boys are the red heroes. Big facts. Big facts, dude. Remember Reach. Wait a second. No. This is a different comment. What is this? This was this video. So the comments didn't change. Alright. That's so odd. Hang on. Can I actually fix this? No, this is... No. This... Okay, what happened? How How did the comment section of this video get into this video? That's not supposed. Oh my god. Okay, so I won't check out the comments, I guess. But still, I agree with this fact 100%. Shout out to the people who died in the Battle of Reach. Remember Reach, fellas. That's so weird. Okay. Well, pretty much, yeah. There's no reason. There's literally no other reason why Overwatch 2 should exist. That's all I'm gonna say. So that being said, did I already grab the link to the video? Okay, hang on. Yeah, so I'm gonna link you guys the video. Alright. There we go. Yeah, it sucks, dude. Because if you think about it, Overwatch 2 looked like it had so much potential, man. It was a game that had so much to offer. Oh lord. Why is it's taking like a long time to look. Yeah, I mean, if you just look at a lot of these, people do care about this game. They still care about this game despite like all the hoops, all the hurdles that we're throwing. And just like they just can't, every single turn Blizzard just throws another curveball and just, yeah. Man, it sucks.